I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. The air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. And we sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value. So, I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Are we ready? Are you ready? Are you sharing the show with everyone you know? It's up to you. Hey, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Let me see if I can get breathing here. Hold on, just give me 1 second. Okay, great, wonderful. Everything's going well. It seems like everything's going well here. We were having just a little bit of issue right before I came on here, but it seems like things are working. So as long as you guys can hear me and I can hear me, and I can hear you guys hearing me, and Kate can hear me, then that's all that matters, okay? Hey, welcome. We've got a lot to discuss. We were not here last night because of MLK Day. I think it's the first time we have several people of color that work here at the Political Spotlight, and so I figured I would give all of us the day off for remembrance and to pay respect and honor to Martin Luther King and the work that he did. So we were already going to take the day off, but then I had so many of you sad. I'm absolutely disgusted by so many of you who took the time to message me yesterday throughout the day. You break my heart. It's kind of like that scene in The Godfather where Michael's known the whole time that it was Fredo that tried to kill him. And it's like I walk up and I'm right now I'm walking up and I'm kissing all of you on the head and saying, Fredo, it was you. I knew it was you. You broke my heart. And I'm kissing you, letting you know that you are all now dead to me, because there were a number of you that took the time to message me yesterday and said to me, hey, are you going to have a show tonight? You know, there is a really big football game that's being played. And I said, a what? A what game? Who cares about that? What's that mean? A football game? What are you talking about? Disgusting. But I play to the audience. And so I said, if enough of you, if one or two of you would have texted me, I would have just been like, go on about it. But several of you text me, and I said, you know what? Screw it. And so, no, we didn't do a show last night. It wasn't because of Martin Luther King Day. Wonderful to Martin Luther King, fantastic, whatever. We've done shows on Martin Luther King Day. But there were a large grouping of people. So did I, K-Mama. Let me be really honest with you. what people actually text me was, are you going to make us fight between you and the game? So people just kept saying game. I actually thought it was basketball. I didn't know that it was football until way late into like the third quarter. Then I realized, oh, it's the old football game. So, hey, congratulations to IU in their victory. 27-21 over Miami. And, you know, I know, isn't that so weird, Eric? Like, here's the deal. Government people spend so much time trying to not work, and then they literally just cob out on. I'm like, dude, you guys could just not be here. Did Winchester meet yesterday? I don't know if they did or not. They should have. I mean, by the calendar, unless they took yesterday off, but they did meet. See, it's crazy. Delaware County didn't meet. The Delaware County commissioners met today. Randolph County commissioners. Oh, oh, no. Let me tell you, I don't want to say anything out of pocket. Don't look at that, or we might get kicked off YouTube. Sorry, I about did something crazy there. Hold on. I about got us kicked off YouTube again. Let me cover that up here with the calendar and take a look. No. Randolph County commissioners actually met yesterday. Well, that's because it's Winchester and Randolph County. And we all know how Winchester and Randolph County is. They're definitely not celebrating Martin Luther King Day there, you know. Yeah, it's ridiculous. I can't believe they didn't. I see it. They actually. I know you did. I remember when you did that, Eric. I know that you did that. And it's crazy that they do that. It's so weird. Anyways, whatever. Well, we can never say that they haven't been told. They have at least been told, but whatever. Okay, so we do have a lot to get to tonight. I think it's going to be a good show for everybody, wherever you're watching from. Should be a little bit of information for you all, and I'm going to put that out of here so I don't get cut. I've cut myself to pieces with that knife over the last couple days, spinning it around, learning how to play with it. I got myself a sock pea knife here, and oh God, I don't know. No, that was not. I'm sorry, YouTube. Jesus, I forgot. That was nothing. It was a fork I was eating. But I've cut myself to pieces with it, trying to spin it. So it is what it is. Okay, so here's the deal. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we have a lot to discuss. And so because it didn't fire, I'll be okay. Yeah, that's right. Because we have a lot to get to, and we don't have any time to jack around with any kind of nonsense. I need you to go ahead and do all the YouTube stuff. Smash the like button. Let's get to town. Do that. Smash the like button. Share the show with everyone you know. Help spread the word, and let's get to it. Yeah, it did, Kid Rock. Okay, so first of all, I don't know who's all watching, because sometimes we know who's watching and sometimes we don't. If you're watching and you are someone that I told that I would send an email of a Google Doc to you, that's still coming. it had to upload, and I had to get it uploaded in my Google Docs. And while we're going through tonight's episode, as soon as I see that it's done uploading, which it shouldn't take much longer, I will press the button and it will send to you. So you will have it momentarily. So just FYI, it is going to come to you, and it's still going to come to you tonight while the show's going. So just bear with me. Okay, let's get the comments on here so I can see some of you guys in passing. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk in a little bit more detail about the Peternel case. The case of Jonathan Peternel, the 24-year-old who has pleaded guilty to 4 counts of weirdness in Madison County. We're going to talk about that case. And in my opinion, that's something that should interest everybody in all 92 counties in the state of Indiana, maybe outside of Indiana. It is something that's of interest. It should be of interest. It deals with, crimes against children, something that we should all care greatly about, and something is just not sitting right with me. Something is off with this case, and I'm gonna look into it. We talked about it when we were here Sunday night, right at the end of the show. So we're going to talk about that. Moving on from there. We're going to then be talking about Madison County and their love of the darkness, the dark side. I filed a record request in Madison County for something very important. Something that I have filed a request for in many other counties, many times, places both in and outside of Indiana, in law enforcement agencies, mostly sheriff's departments. And I have never, ever, 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 never been denied access. But Madison County denied me, and they denied me in a very peculiar way. And so we're going to be talking about that. I'm not going to let that be still. We are going to move against it. Yes, Kate's right. Crimes against kids committed by someone who has, I wouldn't even say an association. I would say a close association with the lieutenant governor, and very, very concerning. Okay, topic number 3, ladies and gentlemen. We're then going to talk a little bit about the personal deal that I'm going through. I keep being told by all these people here in my home city, in my hometown, my home county, I keep being told by all these people that I need to be nice or nicer. I need to come off nice. I need to approach people nice. Specifically speaking, I need to attempt to approach Muncie City Councilor Commissioner Jeff Green in a nice and polite way. And so we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about what I've done. We're going to talk about what has been done back to me. And we're going to talk about all that. Then the fourth topic is Delaware County GOP BS. The names, they may change, but the games stay the same. And then lastly, we're going to end with a little newspaper article from Henry County. I need to read to you a newspaper article, and we need to talk briefly about that article. Okay, so getting into it straight away, pulling this up, we're gonna look at this. This is a report from the independent journalist Tom LaBianco, and I just, in my opinion, I say journalist. A lot of people throw in the independent journalist. I guess I shouldn't have done that. I think people try to throw that in to make him seem like he's lesser than, or, you know, he's not part of Channel 13, or he's not writing for the Indy Star. Well, just FYI, this man has a whole lifetime career of doing just that, of writing for the Star Press, not the Star Press, the Indy Press, the Indy Star, rather, which is the Indianapolis newspaper. He's been a part of the mainstream media for years and years and years. And long ago, while he was part of this mainstream media, he saw the writing on the wall. He saw that independence was going to be a thing that was going to be refreshing, that they weren't going to be beholden to an editor. They weren't going to have to watch what they say because, oh no, the sponsors might not like it and somebody might get mad. And so he struck out on his own, and he worked a work life, professional life, where he kind of walked a tightrope, doing both for a little bit of time. And he's been shared he's been shared a lot of places. He's written for a lot of people, but this is his site. This is like the political spotlight. He puts it all here, and you can see it. He's also on Substack. He's been on a lot of other media. He's been on the Kendall and Casey show. I think he's been on. I think he's been on with Tony Katz, but I know he's been on with a lot of other mainstream media over the years for different things. And this is something that, like, it's not like he's even here in Indiana, I don't think, just poking at the Indiana politicians. This is something that made its way to him. Like, sources looked him up and said, hey, you need to be looking into this. And he has been on top of this since day one. He's been the person that's broken a lot of this story. So the fact that I look, if somebody wants to question him, I'm fine with that. If someone says, hey, I don't want to believe what this guy's saying, that's fine. You have to take a grain of salt with everything. I'm not going to ask you to just blindly follow him or blindly follow me. Listen to it, take the information, and then go from there and do what you see fit. Live your life accordingly. So he actually is the person that made me aware of this through his article. He released this last Friday. It says Jonathan Peternel pleads guilty to 4 felony counts of child exploitation abuse. It's got a picture. It's got his mugshot. It's got a picture of his father here with his head down, praying, I would assume. And then it's got a picture of the lieutenant governor right here. And so kicks off, Jonathan Peternel, the son of powerful Indiana pastor, changed his plea Friday to guilty on 4 felony counts related to more than 200 videos of gruesome child rape and torture found on his phone last year. The son of Life Church lead pastor, who had initially pleaded not guilty to the child exploitation and abuse charges, will now face sentencing in February in a criminal case which has rocked the Pentecostal Church of Indiana's lieutenant governor for months now. Life Church lead pastor Nathan Peternel and his wife, Christina, and a large gathering of Peternel family and top church members packed into the small Madison County courtroom Friday morning to await Jonathan Peternel's hearing. Jonathan Peternel looked briefly at his father and mother seated in the front row of the courtroom as he walked in with other inmates before looking away. As the court worked through a standard renew of criminal cases Friday morning, Nathan Peternel jutted his jaw out a bit and tilted his head back while Jonathan, his son, sometimes scanned the room or kept his head down. 2 months prior, Jonathan Peternel sat alone in a court with none of his family present. Now listen to this. None of his family present 2 months ago. As the judge asked him why nobody had paid the $2,500 needed for his release. Now, on a cold, snowy morning, Jonathan Peternel sat at the defense table with his public defender, scratch the head there, as the prosecutor read through the gruesome details of the videos of the child issues found on his phone. Speaking in a much lower tone, almost muttering, the prosecutor read through the 4 counts. As the circuit court judge read through each felony count, 1 count of child exploitation and 3 counts of possession of child sexual abuse material, Jonathan Peternel bowed his head and replied guilty each time. Asked by 24 Sight News after the hearing how he felt, Nathan Peternel said, "Very brokenhearted for every party involved. It's a very sad situation. There will be a story I'll share at some point that will lead to that. I'm just not able to share it at this time," he said, when asked how Jonathan Peternel ended up in court. Jonathan's arrest last October. Now, when we say last October, please be aware that we're not talking like it's not July. So when we're saying last October, we're talking about just 2 short months ago. I mean, I kind of hate that that writing. 2 months ago, last October, has touched off a larger scandal in the church where Indiana Lieutenant Governor Micah Beckwith is employed as one of its top pastors. Since his arrest, former youth group member and congregant former youth group members and congregants have stepped forward with reports of Nathan Peternel regularly demanding they tell him. Now, I really want you guys to listen to this. Since all this stuff with the son who's in jail, former youth group members and congregants have stepped forward with reports of not the guy in jail, but his father, who regularly demanded that they tell him about their personal sex lives, regularly talking about his own with younger people in the church. We're not talking about the 24-year-old son. We're talking about the 42-year-old father. Keep that in your dome right up here. They're not making complaints or making accusations against the son. They're talking about the father. At times, urging congregants to make homemade pornography of them and their spouses. What kind of church is this? While that didn't come up in Friday's hearing, people inside the closed-off Life Church have pushed for months to find out why Jonathan Peternel was also found with more than 50 videos. 50 videos of his own parents naked or in a graphic setting. Okay, I've had that same question. Why would a 24-year-old have these videos of his parents? Yes, the guy, the father, the father, it was part of that podcast. Yes. So please understand. People will say, well, it's because the kid's a freak. He's obviously a freak. Look what he was doing with kids. Well, yes, I'm gonna put that in your mind. Listen to what I'm saying. If the 24-year-old was into kids, why would he have pictures and videos of the parents? Something never sounded right. Something never sounded right. Hey, Tom, I'm glad that you're here, and I hope that you stay. I hope that you stand by here because I'm getting ready. I have a thought about this, and I hope that you stay by and you listen to what my thought is. And I would like to talk to you sometime, the two of us, and maybe get you to come on or something. I would love to do that. So hang out here for a second, and we'll get to it. So this obviously in the comments at 24Sight is the author of this piece, and I think it has done a fantastic job with all of this. Reports of Nathan Peternel's behavior with teens, his congregation, and changing stories about his son and the sex videos have led to a steady stream of departures from the 4-campus Pentecostal church, which just a year ago was hosting major Republican politicians and hundreds of congregants celebrating in place of one of their own second in line to the governor. 2 of the church's top pastors submitted their resignations shortly after the new year. One of those being connected to Madison County government. One of those is being connected is the son of Madison County Councilor Rob Steele. Keep in mind that it's not been too long ago since a Madison County councilor himself, a preacher, was arrested for this kind of behavior with his own daughters and is currently sitting in a Madison County jail awaiting trial after being on the run for nearly 2.5 years. Stephen Sumner. See how it all kind of ties in together? Kind of interesting how that happens. Okay. Beckwith and Peternel have tried unsuccessfully for months now to stop congregants from asking questions. The pair used to co-host a podcast called none other than Jesus, Sex, and Politics, a very kind of bizarre and weird name. But haven't made any new episodes since shortly after police searched the Peternel's home in September. Oh, yes, sir. Ross Steele is the son of Madison County Councilor Rob Steele, who was very good friends with Stephen Sumner, who is currently awaiting trial for child molestation and all of that himself. Absolutely, sir. They also deleted 2 episodes of the show, including an episode focused on fighting child abuse and sex trafficking. I think it's interesting that they've deleted posts. That's very interesting. And I know these belong out there. They're out there. People have downloaded them. If you have downloaded these episodes, I would like you to send these copies to me. I know that there are people out there that have these episodes downloaded. So this is here. Tom says, friends, I'm crowdsourcing this investigative series. My reporting is having an impact, but I need your support. Please contribute at PayPal, Venmo, via GoFundMe page. A lot of people I wouldn't say a lot of people. There are people out there giving him a little bit of crap for this. I don't have a problem with that. Look, people... I don't have a. I'm not a journalist. I consider myself a political commentator. But even doing what we do takes time. It takes effort. It takes money, and it's hard to do this when you're not backed by a big corporate news media. Who, if you were backed by that big corporate news media, probably wouldn't allow you to touch on this stuff anyway. So I don't hate on the guy because he's got that out there. You gotta have funds to be able to do the stuff that's being done. So I have no problem with what he's doing there. He's done a lot of work. And if you want to see his other articles, you can go to 24 Site News. Now, here is the big thing. Okay. When I saw Tom's article, something struck me. And I didn't think about it at the time, but if this life event wouldn't have happened, I probably wouldn't have thought about it. But I was sitting there thinking, and I talked to Catherine. Catherine and I were talking, and I'm thinking, wait a minute. He just pled guilty. He pled guilty to 4 counts. He's charged with 4 counts. They're not dismissing any of the 4 counts. And I find that very peculiar because this hasn't been going on very long. And the reason I know this is because, unfortunately, we had a death in the family back in mid-October. My stepfather's dad passed away. A grandfather of mine passed away. And my brother, who's in the Navy, he's stationed in Sicily, but he was back here for the funeral. My brother and I were driving back to Muncie from South Bend after the funeral when Catherine called and told me about the arrest. And it was actually Tom's article then. And the arrest was on October 23rd. And if it wouldn't have been for the death in the family and my brother and I driving back, I probably wouldn't have remembered that date. But then I'm thinking, okay, wait a minute, stop. This is really crazy. So we have an arrest that occurred on October 23rd of 2025 for very serious charges. And we now have it's wrapped up. All for except for the sentencing, it's done. The dude pled guilty on January 16th. October 23rd to January 16th. That, ladies and gentlemen, is 85 days. 85 days. 85 days that are calendar days. Now, you take out the weekends from October 23rd to January 16th. You take out the weekends. You take out Veterans Day. You take out Thanksgiving and Black Friday. You take out Christmas Eve and Christmas, and hell, it's government, so the Friday after that. And you take out New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. You take out all these days. How many calendar days? How many calendar days do we have? 85? How many working days does that leave? Well, I counted that up, ladies and gentlemen, and it leaves 52 days. So 52 days from being arrested until the guy pleads guilty. Now, as a former law enforcement officer and as someone who's worked in the Delaware County Prosecutor's Office, as somebody who's been a part of prosecutions and criminal cases that have connected to cases very similar to this, I'm telling you, that just does not sit right with me. I've talked to other law enforcement officers in the last couple of days. I've talked to people from prosecutor's office from all over Indiana. And those people behind the scenes are agreeing with me that something just does not sit right here. Something seems a little off. And when I was sitting here posting about Tom's article on Friday, and I was talking to Catherine, listen, I cannot make any allegations. I'm just telling you, I remember talking to a sheriff about a situation in Randolph County not too long ago. Okay. And the sheriff said something very interesting to me. Okay. The sheriff said, and you guys will all remember this, the ones of you that listen frequently. It was the Sulik case. I called and I asked the sheriff what happened in there because I was looking for the probable cause sheet. And the sheriff said, hey, look, the state police was running this investigation. We didn't know anything about it. They called to give us a heads up. And what I heard was that the state police knew that there was some things going on in the house because they had an IP address, but they didn't exactly know who the suspect would be until they got there, until they started poking around and asking questions. Now, I'm going to let you guys draw the conclusion that you want to draw. I'm just letting you know, in my mind, does it seem like a situation where a kid, 24-year-old kid who's into children and into young girls, young whatever boys, whatever the deal is there, would also be perving on his dad and mom? Or does it seem like somebody who's utilizing these computers and phones might have been catfishing younger people? Because when you catfish, you don't always use your picture. You use pictures of other people. Maybe somebody uses a picture of someone close to them that's younger. And when the police go in and they find all of this crap on the material, they find it all there. Maybe that's why the parents' videos were intermixed. You understand what I'm saying? Maybe, to me, that's why all of this stuff was intermixed, because it just seems very strange that the kid would have that. I just don't believe that. And it, it makes me wonder, is this a situation where someone's taking one for the team? I've got no proof of that. These are all allegations, just me talking out of my ass. But it's just because I find it very odd that there was no push to drop any of these charges. There was no push to get this kid out of jail. $2,500. And very shortly after the arrest, the dad goes and hires an attorney, leaves the son in jail. The son uses a public defender. This just seems like, to me, like it's really wrapped up nice and neat. And now everybody needs to shut up about it. Everybody needs to go away. Don't ask any more questions. Don't have any more comments about this. Whoever's going to leave the church is going to leave the church. And they'll rebuild. They'll be okay, because there's enough sycophants out there of Micah and of Nathan and everyone else that they will survive this. That is, unless anyone else comes forward. And I just have to believe. I have to believe that there are more people out there with more stories. And listen, I Cindy, I definitely get what you're saying. Son is adult and he should be responsible for himself. But that's not the vibe these people give in a lot of cases. And look, we're talking about $2,500. They couldn't bond the kid out, the son out, the adult son out, and the adult son couldn't pay his father back. It just, something doesn't make sense here. Why would the dad in this case? And look, I know a lot of people do this specifically when they're high profile folks or whatnot. They hire attorneys to keep them insulated. But what does the dad have to be insulated from? While at the same time, keep in mind that it's Micah and his office that's being investigated by the Marion County Prosecutor's Office for the AI deep fake porn of Craig Haggard's wife. And one of the people who's been named in all of this in a roundabout connection is Devin. And while I will agree with Catherine, and I will agree, I don't necessarily believe that Ross Steele or Devin is involved with whatever's going on here with Peternel. I do know that there's some weird things going on in Micah's office. I don't know what's going to come of that. The last I heard, there was a grand jury investigation. Something may come of that. Something may not come of that. I really don't know. But just, it's an odd situation. 52 days. 52 days from start to finish. Nothing was dropped. And it's going to be interesting to see what the sentencing brings. It'll be interesting to see what that brings. And once the son is done with all of his punishment, is he going to ride off into the sunset with a new car? Yes, Devin Norick, remarkable. He wouldn't reply to me when I asked about the deep fake he was watching, but he replied immediately when I asked if he was representing. Yeah, isn't that strange? I either read that, either you posted that, or I heard that. I listened to your discussion with Abdul, and I thought that was very interesting. And I think you've done a lot of great work with this. I think this has been fantastic work, and it's important things that people need to know. And you guys understand how I am. I normally don't. These are not things I would talk about. I don't dive into personal lives or whatever. But when it's so intersected with the political aspect here, and then we have situations like, okay, look, I mean, just look at the situation. Look how long it took for Josh. Okay, I saw someone else that talked about that. Look how long, at the same time that this has all happened in 52 days, Sumner was arrested around the same time, just a little bit earlier, a month earlier in September, and he's still sitting in jail. There's no, and it's look, I know he's not going to take a plea, but just it's the point of how quick everything happens. This does not happen. So yes. Get a hold of me, Tom. I tell you, let me do this right here. Let me see where it is. I don't know where it's at. Oh, right here it is. Here, sir, is my phone number on the screen there. If you, just at your convenience, if you want to text me or whatever, that's my phone number. You are free to text 765-546-9796. Or if you want to send an email, you can email us at tpsprogram@gmail.com, whichever one you're more comfortable with. And we will gladly talk with you. That would be good. I would love to chat with you. So very, very strange situation. Something doesn't set right here. I don't think that this is over. And even if and or when this goes to sentencing, and once everybody thinks, okay, it's over, it's done, I still don't believe it will be over. I don't believe that. So we will see what goes on there. Yeah, thank you, Tom, for hanging out and chatting. That was fantastic. Okay, moving on. Before we leave the Madison County area, I am going to talk about this Madison County issue with this kind of on the same topic, a little bit different topic, but the deal with Stephen Sumner. So to catch everybody up, everyone's aware that Stephen Sumner was a Madison County councilor. While he was a Madison County councilor / preacher, he was doing the dirty, and he was molesting people that looked up to him and looked to him as a provider, looked to him as a defender, someone to keep them safe. And he was doing wrong, and he was arrested, and he was charged. He was put in jail. He bonded out. They got a warrant. He was put back in. He got out, and then boom, he was on the run. He left. He took off. And he was on the run for a week. He was on the run for a month. He was on the run for 6 months. He was on the run for a year. He was on the run for 2 years. And it kind of seemed like nothing was ever going to happen. Kind of seemed like nothing was ever going to happen there. And then somebody put up a reward that did not come from Madison County. It was not a governmental reward. It was a reward that a private citizen put forward. And the reward said, this will be paid to the person who makes a tip, who helps provide in the information that leads to the arrest of Steve Sumner. And Steve Sumner was arrested. Steve Sumner's girlfriend was arrested. They were all brought back to Madison County. Everything looked wonderful. And that citizen reached out to the sheriff and said, Sheriff, I'm ready to cut the check. Who do I make the check out to? And the sheriff said, okay, here, I'll give you a name. And he gives a name. Then he changes the name. Then things start to get a little hinky. We don't know who it is. There's some questions. The name given, and the name was given by the sheriff to the citizen. That person whose name was given was talking to other citizens. It wasn't hidden. It wasn't like investigatory knowledge. It wasn't being hidden to preserve the case. Everybody knew who the name was. So then the sheriff started getting sideways with the citizen, and there was question about if they were doing the right thing. That's when I said, wait a minute, I'm going to find out what's going on here. I issued records request with the sheriff's department in Howard County, Maryland. They complied very quickly. They were easy to deal with. And as you all know, the person who made the call was not Melissa Bailey Parati, was not the name that the sheriff gave. The person who made the tip, and again, this is not secret. It's not part of investigative work product. It's not under lock and key. It's public record. Anybody could have got this. The person that made the call was Karen, and she gave the call. It's Melissa Pavarotti's aunt, and she said she didn't want the money. Well, towards the end of the sheriff dealing with the citizen, the sheriff made an interesting statement to the citizen. The sheriff said, so you don't have to deal with the citizen. Why don't you write the check to the Madison County Sheriff's Department and we will offer a one-time check out of the commissary fund to the citizen? And the citizen said, I'm not going to do that. No, I want to know what's going on here. I want you to answer the question. I want to know why are you trying to give the money to this lady? Who are you saying called the tip in? And the sheriff said, I'm not going to answer that. I'm not going to answer that. Then everything went silent. And I wondered the other day, why is the sheriff not pushing this anymore? And I wondered it so much that I thought, is it possible that the sheriff went ahead and paid the person that he wanted paid, who wasn't the tipster? But is it possible that the sheriff paid Melissa Bailey Parati out of the commissary? And that's the reason that the sheriff's just shut up about it and isn't pushing? And I wondered, if he did this, that's something that the people should know about. That's something that the people should know about, because if he did that, that's wrong. Because it wasn't the county's debt to pay. The county never offered that. And if specifically the sheriff paid Melissa Parati, well, the people really need to know about that. Because Melissa Parati was not who turned the tip in. So, ladies and gentlemen, I did what I often do. And all the way back on December 19th, I submitted a records request to the Madison County Sheriff's Department. To whom it may concern, under Indiana Access to Public Record Act, I am requesting an opportunity to inspect or obtain copies of the following public records relating to the following. Any checks made payable to Melissa Bailey or Melissa Parati out of the Madison County Jail's commissary fund for any amount of money between $10 and $100,000. Because look, if he's doing this, I don't know how much money they made or they paid. Maybe they paid out less. Maybe they paid out more. Who the hell knows what's going on? It's so weird. So I ask for this between the dates of September 8th, 2025 and December 19th, 2025. Request 1. Request 2. Any checks made payable to the same person out of any other account assigned to the Madison County Sheriff's Department for any amount between $10 and $100,000 between those same dates, September 8th, 2025 and December 19th, 2025. Request number 3, any checks made payable to the same person by any Madison County government check. Okay? By any check for the same amounts in the same days. And then lastly, I requested any and all emails back and forth between Sheriff John Beeman or anyone working on his behalf and Melissa Bailey or Melissa Parati or anyone working on her behalf between the dates of September 8th, 2025 and December 19th, 2025 concerning any possible reward monies Beeman or Bailey Parati feel she was owed, even though she was not the person who made the tip. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the request that I made to the Madison County Sheriff's Department. The requested information is in the public interest. It will significantly contribute to the public's understanding of the nature of the Madison County Sheriff's Department and the Madison County government and how the government operates. Blah, 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 blah. Okay? And I requested that on the 19th. And let me tell you, people, the commissary fund is a fund that sheriff's departments have a lot of leeway with what they do. And there's oversight, but there's not a lot of oversight. And so it's something that the public should pay attention to. And it is also something that people like me and a lot of other people look at frequently. I have requested checks and balances and documentation on lots of funds relating to county governments, city governments, town governments, state government in the 10 or so years that I've been doing this. Okay? All over Indiana and outside of Indiana, I have requested commissary funds, and I have almost, I can't say almost ever. I have always received the fund information. Now, requesting the emails, generally I receive those too. Sometimes I get pushback, and there might be pushback here or there, and maybe I can see a little bit of pushback with that. But as far as the first 3 requests in there, no issue. Okay. Now, I want to be very clear here. Madison County government, out of all of the governments I've ever worked with, they like to do record request and deal with record request and turn things over less than any other government I have ever interacted with. And they give some of the most nonsensical bullshit reasons I have ever heard. Yes. And, well, I'll get there because she didn't reach out until after this, but she did reach out. Yeah, Melissa even reached out. Okay. And that's why this is going to be very important. Jeffrey Graham, the attorney for Madison County, sent an email saying this firm represents the Madison County Auditor and Madison County Sheriff, collectively here in the county. In responding to your December 19th, 2025 public records request, a copy of which is attached hereto for your convenience. Pursuant to the investigatory records exception, Indiana Code 51434B11B1, under the Indiana Access Public Records Act, the county denies access to the requested records because disclosure would reveal investigatory records. Accordingly, the request is denied in full at this time. And it floors me. This really floors me. Because I know Jeffrey Graham. I've dealt with Jeffrey Graham. I've worked with Jeffrey Graham before. I used to be on the side where Jeffrey Graham and I were buddies. And I worked with him on some things before. So I didn't think that Jeffrey Graham was a complete idiot. But then I read this email, and I now fully know that Jeffrey Graham is 100% a walking, talking, sleeping, while he's breathing, eating, shitting, pissing, whatever he's doing, he's an idiot. 1,000%, no questions asked. Jeffrey Graham is an idiot. Let's forget the emails for a minute. Let's forget the emails. Put them over here in a category. Did you pay Melissa Bailey Parati? Yes or no? If you, Jeff, want to take your little Sharpie marker and black out the reason for why she's getting paid on the check, you can black that out. But did the auditor's office, did the commissioners, did the council, did the sheriff's department, did the janitor, did somebody in Madison County write her a check out of some fund for some amount of money? Yes or no? Because if the answer is no, you provide the commissary funds and you make me look like a fool. You say, no, that is not there. And I look like a complete idiot. But if you gave her some kind of money, well, now we got another problem. Because how did that money get appropriated? Who appropriated $25,000 or $10,000 or $100 or $10? Who appropriated that money to be paid to Melissa Bailey Parati? And for what reason? Furthermore, if you paid her, showing me that you paid her isn't going to give me any further information other than her name, the date that she was paid, the amount that she was paid. I already know her name because you gave it to Catherine. Melissa herself contacted Catherine. Melissa's talked to other people. People found her on Reddit. Everybody in the county knows. I'm not asking for recordings. I'm not asking for body cams. I'm not asking for anything in the prosecutor's file. I'm not asking for any police reports. I'm asking for accounting funds. Nicole, she absolutely can. And I have not talked to Bethany, but that is a great question. And I will call her tomorrow and let her know this is going on and see what she can find, because she absolutely can, or she absolutely should be able to. But I want to make sure that everybody's aware. Kay said there are no records pertinent to your request. Why not send that to the response? Yeah. Why not send that? You know why I think they didn't send that, Kate? I think they didn't send that because, as dumb and as ignorant as Jeff is, I don't think he's willing to lie. He might lie through obfuscation, but I don't think he's willing to outright lie. But it's not just me that thinks that this is nonsensical. So I spent a good little period on the phone for the last 24 hours talking, going back and forth with the newest public access counselor for the state of Indiana, Jennifer Ruby. And she agrees that I should file a complaint. So I will be filing a complaint I'm in the middle of that now. I will have it. She will have it before she walks in tomorrow morning. And the complaint I'm filing is just saying that this denial is nonsensical, that there is nothing happening here. And I will tell you this, and I mark my words on this. I promise you, in all of the public access counselor complaints, and I have a lot under my belt that I have been proven right. If the public access counselor comes back in my favor, I will absolutely 1000%, I'm telling it to you here, at 10:05 p.m. on Tuesday, January 20th, 2026, I am telling you that if and or when they come back in my favor, I will sue the Sheriff's Department, Madison County government, for those records. I've never done that before. I've never needed to do that before, because it's always normally just proven the point, and it's either helped me get what I was looking for, or it's proven that they had an open door meeting or open door violation, yada yada yada. But with this situation, I will sue and I will push the envelope, because this is just simply bullshit. There is no reason for them to not provide these documents. They could easily give me this. It doesn't hurt the prosecution in any way. It's not going to hurt prosecuting Sumner. It's not going to hurt prosecuting Sharon. Karen called, Melissa called. Karen got the money, Melissa got the money, somebody got the money, someone didn't get the money. Whatever the deal is, Madison County shouldn't have paid it. And we are in election time, ladies and gentlemen, and the people need to know this. So we've got a complaint. It's going to take time. I'm going to get it in, and this will be a rolling ball that, picks up a lot of shit and takes time, but I will keep you all posted. We will keep it going. And as soon as I hear anything back, I will let you all know. All right. Moving on from dumbass emails in Madison County to no emails in the city of Muncie. Going back to the whole nice issue. So going back to my phone call, everybody need to take a little drink of coffee, smell the coffee, cleanse the palate. Everybody need to relax a little bit and let's be able to. Yeah, right. That's a good question there, Kate. Do we know if the State Board of Accounts did say it was okay? Well, I might call. Yeah, ding, ding, ding. That's a good thing. I'll call there tomorrow. I'm glad you asked that. I'll call there tomorrow and I'll find that out. Call SBOA. I'll call there. Because here's what he made it seem like to Catherine. Sorry, we got to jump back to this for a second. He makes it seem like that deal would be okay only if Catherine was willing to give the Sheriff's Department $25,000, because at that point, it wouldn't be the county paying money out. It would just be the county acting as a middleman if Catherine didn't want to do with anything. You know what I mean? If Catherine didn't want to deal with having to give it to whoever or whatever, if Catherine was, because Catherine was saying like, hey, look, my accountant needs to know what we're doing. So they tried to make it easy. They tried to say, well, you could just give to the Sheriff's Department, and then that makes it easy on you, and then we'll give the $25,000 to Melissa. Well, in that case, the county's not out anything. So I think that deal would have fallen through if and when Catherine refused to pay the $25,000 to John Beeman because he wasn't the tipster. What does the cherry gator you smell like? It smells like winning. But if he jumped the gun, absolutely he could have done that. And if so, he's in trouble. And if so, they wouldn't want that to get out. If so, that would look bad. So that's the reason I think that we're getting this rather than there's nothing pertinent to your request. Okay. Moving on to the city of Muncie. And this is nothing major. This is just going to take a second. Here's the deal. City of Muncie has a new president on the council, and he appears to be what he's always appeared to be. A little bit of a dumbass. Just doesn't have an understanding of how he should deal with citizens. Doesn't understand how he should de-escalate. Doesn't understand that he is a public servant. He feels, yeah, Kate, that works. He feels as if he's one of these people that says, well, you know, if you're being mean to me, if you're being bad, if you're being loud, if you're speaking incorrectly to me, I don't have to deal with you. And I have something for Councilor Green, and that is, well, I guess I can show you. I can go ahead and show you here. It's in this. It's in this. I was going to give this to him when we met. There you go. That's wrong. You don't get to decide if you're going to be nice to me based on whether or not I'm nice to you or not. You don't get to decide. Well, yeah, I guess let me back up. Yeah, you can not be nice to me if you so choose. I'm okay with that. You don't get to decide if you're going to talk to me or answer questions based on whether or not I like you or not, or based on whether or not I'm being correct or incorrect based on whatever it is in your mind that gets to decide that. But let me calm down. Let me not be rude. And let me be like everyone else has tried to tell me to be for a minute. So when we heard this, when we heard all this chaos back on the 5th of January in Monday, January 5th this year, when we heard his new rules and the thing that's going to happen, and I was irate at the meeting, and he gave me like the stink eye. And when Tim Overton called me the next day, less than 12 hours from the time I heard this nonsense, Tim ended the phone call saying, maybe you ought to give him the benefit of the doubt. And I hate when people haven't been around and just don't know things, say things like that. It would be like if I picked up one of my guns and Kate says to me, hey, now, have you checked to see if that thing's loaded or not? Like, I'm going to look at her and be like, what? Who are you to ask me? Like, yes, I know it's loaded. You know, like that. Don't ask dumb questions. So I hate when Tim's like, have you tried being nice? And I'm like, what do you mean? I've tried sending emails that don't start off with answer me or you're a bag of dog shit. Yes, I've been nice. I've sent countless emails. How long has this dude been on the council? Do we know that yet? Has he been on 4 years? Who did he take over for? No, he's been on forever. He took over for he took over for Ralph Jigger Smith. He's been on since the beginning of time. He's been on since like 2021 or 2. 3, 4, 5. Yeah, he's been on a long time. Yes, by the way, they're all loaded. Who has a gun that's not loaded? Okay. But I said, here's what we'll do. I will disregard all of the emails that I've ever sent Green and Basham and the whole lot of them. And I will start fresh. So every couple of days since Tuesday, the 6th of January, every couple of days, I have sent Jeff emails. I sent him one on the 6th with the title How, How, and it just says, Council President Green, how can we meet in the middle and move forward? Let me ask you something. Let me ask you all something I need to know. I need to seriously know this. Is that rude? Can you perceive that in any way as being rude? Kate was looking down doing something. I'm going to read it again, Kate, and you tell me if that's rude. It says, the subject says how, and it says, Council President Green, how can we meet in the middle and move forward? Can that be perceived as rude? Okay, well, I got to thinking maybe it was rude because I sent it at 6:13 p.m. Maybe it's rude because I'm disrespecting his authority and I'm asking how to meet in the middle rather than how can I bow down and kowtow to your ever wish. Okay. So I decided to send something different. And I sent an email to him that says, Councilor Green. And the subject here was just City Council. So the subject says City Council. And I say, Councilor Green, I have a couple of questions about the City Council, and I was hoping to hear back from you so we could set up a time for a conversation so I can ask you a few questions and hopefully get some answers. Can you please respond to me here at your earliest convenience? Thank you in advance for your time. Now, you want to talk about how rude this one was. I sent it at 3:24 a.m. But it's not like waking him up. I'm not calling him. I mean, that would be rude to call him. Hold on, you're muted. You're muted. We'll wait. Do 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 do. Kate's never sounded better. Wait, what are you doing now? Oh, she's trying to figure something out. Well, while she's trying to figure that out, so then, okay, I was afraid that might be rude because I sent it at 3:24 a.m. So then I send an email at 10 o'clock in the morning on a Tuesday. And I say, good morning. That's the subject. Good morning. Council President Jeff Green. At your earliest convenience, could you please email me back? Pretty please. If he sleeps with his phone, notifications may have woken him up. Something lets me know, oh, you didn't set up your microphone. Yeah, that's right. Womp womp. So what I'm going to do, if I don't know. I'm not. I see a harassment charge coming up. I like that, Admiral. Let me tell you something. Bring it on. Because I'm not Joshua Kimbrell. I promise you. I'm not showing up at anybody's house. File a harassment. I hope that happens. I beg of you to do something like that. Councilor Green, pretty pleased with sugar on top. No. So what I've decided to do is I'm going to print off all these emails, and we've still got more emails to send because the month's not over. But all the emails that I have sent him from the 6th of January until February, whenever that meeting is, February 2nd, I'm going to print them all off. And I'm going to make a copy for all 9 council members. And I'm going to take them in there, and I'm going to ask what the bloody problem is. And I'm going to ask, is there some, what do I need to do to get through to you? Because I'm going to do it. It's going to happen. So that, I just wanted to put that out there. And then we've got 2 more quick things, and we'll be out of here. Oh, dude, we're doing good on time too. I thought we were bad. Hell, that's nothing. Yeah, we're going swimmingly. Okay. Kind of along that same train of thought. You know, we got a new party chairman last year. And, you know, unlike Councilor Green, who I've had the pleasure of trying to communicate with since like 2022, I will tell you this. Tim Overton, while I knew of him, when he came into the party, he was a unknown quantity. He was an unknown entity. Quantity of bullshit. An entity, a person. He was an unknown entity. He was an unknown person. I did not know anything about him. That's a lot. I knew about him. I knew what he stood for. I knew what his beliefs were. I knew how he conducted himself. I didn't have a problem with any of that. I did not know how he would do as a leader, how he would do as the party chairman. He made a lot of promises, and I'm going to tell you, he lived up to a lot of his early promises in the fact that he would communicate. From everything I'm seeing, he's still living up to that. Listen, I will say, even though the conversation was bizarre and heated at times and stupid, he did call, and I give him credit for that. I don't care whether we disagreed or not. I respect the man because he called. I respect the man because he responds whether I like what he says or not. And listen, that's what I can't get him to understand. I give him much more respect than I give to Green or to Basham, because at least the man responds. How can you respect a man who won't even look you in the eye, who's not man enough to send you words on a screen from the safety of his house? I can't consider that person a man. I'm sorry. You can't even speak to me in a crowded room when there's 20 feet between us and you're up on the dais and there's police officers and people in there to tackle me and to shut me down. I can't, dude, I got a real hard time respecting that person as anything. That's just trash to me. At least Tim is man enough to call, to text, to email. So I'll give him that credit. And he came in pretty easy because we were in an off political year. There was no race and everything. And that's probably good that that's how they come in. But I'm going to tell you, he's quickly letting me know that different name, same game. It doesn't really matter. He communicates, and there's a lot of things better like that. But I'm having a real problem with what I'm hearing from him, because we have candidates that are filing to run, and we have candidates that are starting to ask for like walking sheets and things. And he's saying, nope, sorry, we're not providing those. We'll provide those after the primary. Well, my problem with that then is, if Matt Kantz has the walking sheets, and look, like him, don't like him, whatever, if Ryan Webb doesn't have the walking sheets, I've got a problem with that. Because whether or not they like Ryan Webb or not, and listen, Tim's always said he likes Ryan. They have, look, Tim and him, you know, whatever you feel about Ryan's belief with you know, how the whole trans movement and all that was, Tim and Ryan are pretty close in the way they believe on that. So if they don't give Ryan the walking sheets, because they know, because what they're saying is, well, you know, a Democrat could come and file as a Republican, and then we don't want to give our people's information to them, and Lord knows what they would do with it. Well, if you can't give it to Ryan Webb, I got a real problem. And yeah, Kate's right. It's unequal treatment. Alva, that would be an interesting question. That would be an interesting question, sir. I just, Tim, I got to tell you, dude, just don't play the games, bro. Don't play the game. If a Republican has filed and they meet the credential to file, they meet the requirements to file, I just don't know how you're going to give the walking sheets or allow the walking sheets to have been handed out to candidates that are running, like Matt Kantz. He's not an incumbent. He's running for a new office. So I'm hearing this stuff, and I'm telling you, I think that you're going to have a battle on your hands if you do this. It would be better for you not to do this. I'm already pissed off about how he's doing the delegates. They've said that they did not like how Ed and how Victor had done the delegates, and that they were going to do the delegates differently. But here we are. They're not doing the delegates. I'd be more likely to say that Kantz is a dim in disguise. Reminds me of Bill Clinton. So very, very interesting fight that I foresee coming, and it's a fight that doesn't need to be. It just doesn't need to be. Don't create enemies where there's not enemies. There's no reason to. This is what divides the party, and it's the same old bullshit. And it really bothers me because I kind of thought with the way that he was communicating all last year that maybe things were going to be different, but now we're here and it's like it's the same old, same old. I don't care how much you talk in the off year. If it's a bunch of bullshit during the 3 years that matter, then, you're no different than anybody who came before you. So I want to put that out, and I want to let people know that that's something that's sad. I'm also hearing that there are some Democrat precinct committee people and Democrat candidates that are starting to complain a little bit about Andrew Dale. I'm hearing that there are people that are saying that Andrew's not doing what he said he would do. I have not talked to Andrew. I've not asked Andrew about this. I don't know what's going on, but I promise I'm going to look into it. And I just, it's same old, same old. I don't even care, man. The parties suck. Parties suck more than the candidates suck. The only thing that sucks worse than a politician is the political party that the politician comes from. You know what I mean? All right. Moving on. So I should have talked about this probably Sunday, but I didn't because I didn't know about it. And I don't know how I didn't know about this, but I missed it. So we're going to talk about it today. Last Saturday, on Sunday, I told you that Sproles announced that he was running for re-election. He said that he was running for re-election, and he, all this great stuff I talked about. Well, if I would have had the hard copy paper in my hand, what we would have noticed was on the front side was Sproles, and when you turned the paper over, in the exact same area with Sproles, in like a 5-paragraph thing, was the story of our traffic stop that we've been focusing on. And I cannot believe how much they made out of this. And I want you guys to follow along as we read this. This is insane. I'll tell you what, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do it like this because I don't like I'm not going to help them with their sponsorships in any way. I think it's trash, and I'm not going to do it. So we're going to do it like this. Give me a second here. Let me see. How many? Save as PDF. Save. Desktop. Bell. Arrest. Save. And we're going to do it like this. Okay. Flip it over and a clown appeared. I so wish that would have been amazing. Okay, here we go. Hide. And here we are. This is much better. Look at this. Look how professional this looks. See if I can blow it up to where you guys can see it. Yeah, look at that. Okay. Newcastle man arrest following wife's traffic stop. A Newcastle man arrested following his wife's traffic stop is now facing several preliminary criminal charges, including battery on a law enforcement officer, disorderly conduct, and resisting law enforcement. Okay. Here's a nice little picture of him making criminals of people that aren't criminals. Isn't that nice? Brian Bell, 42, was arrested on January 10th as of the morning of January 14th. Formal charges against Brian Bell had not been filed by the Henry County Prosecutor's Office, although we know that they have been filed now in another load of bullshit. Okay, bullshit. According to the Henry County Sheriff's Office report, Brian Bell's arrest came after an incident that began around 10:55 a.m. January 10th at a traffic light near Indiana 3 and Interstate 70 in Spiceland. Henry County Sheriff's Office Deputy Braden Haskett, who was off duty at the time, was traveling south on Indiana 3 in his fully marked patrol vehicle. Haskett was in the right lane and was stopped at the stoplight behind a silver passenger vehicle. Listen, I got to be honest. I'm one of those people that are all for officers driving their vehicles off duty, because if something happens, it allows them to respond if they need to be. But it's this kind of bullshit that would stop me, would me be saying to the Henry County Council, hey, if your deputies are going to be driving their vehicles while they're off duty and doing bullshit like this, that in turn is going to cost the county lots and lots and lots of money, maybe it makes less sense for them to actually drive their vehicles. Just food for thought. You know what I mean? The light turned green. Listen to this. The light turned green, and both Haskett's vehicle and the silver passenger vehicle continued. Yeah, it was marked. It had Sheriff's Department on it. And it continued driving. Okay. And the sheriff's deputy says, I'm familiar with this area, and I know this lane ends unless you merge into the left lane. So I attempted to allow time for the vehicle to merge before me in an effort to allow the driver an opportunity to safely correct their lane position, Haskett wrote in his police report. Myself and the vehicle were approaching the solid line where you can no longer merge, so I used my left turn signal and I got over, assuming they would turn right. As I started to pass this vehicle on the left, I saw it activate its left turn signal and attempt to merge over the solid line into me. Haskett said the female driver of the silver passenger car, later identified as Amy Bell, realized he was beside her and abruptly corrected back into the right lane. How many times have people done that accidentally, and it doesn't mean anything's going on? It doesn't need any action. It happens. Sometimes it just happens. It's called a blind spot. Okay, when she noticed that, she pulled over and allegedly threw her hands up in the air at him. All right, maybe she thought it was his fault. I don't know. That's still not illegal. Hey, what the hell are you doing? Get over, dumbass. There's nothing wrong with that. Traffic stop initiated. Haskett said he pulled over. Listen to this. This is so weird. Haskett, who was actually in front of them at the time, pulls over and allows them to pass so he can then get behind them and initiate a traffic stop. Just go on to your stupid pool table, dude. Okay? So stupid. The purpose of the stop was to address the unsafe driving behavior and ensure the driver was not impaired or experiencing a medical emergency. No, the purpose of the traffic stop was because they were being dumb, as you said, and you were going to pull them over and let them know they were being dumb. Wasn't that the purpose of the stop? That's what you told your buddies. Haskett said in his report, the traffic stop was conducted by activating my emergency lights, and the vehicle stopped by the entrance of a Taste of India. I approached the vehicle on the passenger side and was immediately yelled at by passenger Brian Bell. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. Brian Bell reportedly asked why his wife was pulled over. Okay. I explained to Brian I did not intend on giving anyone a ticket during this interaction. Then why pull them over? while you're in plain clothes. I can understand pulling them over while you're working, but this is ludicrous. You pulled them over without any intent whatsoever while off duty. This stuff really needs to be looked at. I explained to Brian I did not intend on giving anyone a ticket during this interaction. Haskett said in his report, I explained the stop was being conducted to ensure no one was impaired or having a medical emergency because my vehicle was almost struck when his wife attempted to merge into my lane. Blind spot, dude. I'm sorry. Move on down the road. You'll be all right. You just told us that you're not going to give us a ticket or anything, so right on down the road. Absolutely. Diane's correct. GW is correct. Yeah, it's a bunch of nonsense here. This is just totally crazy. Brian Bell allegedly aggressively pointed his fingers at Haskett, and his patrol vehicle and suggested the traffic stop could not be conducted as Haskett was not in uniform. Brian Bell allegedly accused Haskett of not letting their vehicle merge. Okay, now we'll stop here. I'm sure Brian said this. I haven't asked Brian if he said this. I haven't asked Amy if he said this. I have not asked either of them if he said this. I'm sure he probably did. I'm okay with him saying that. He's wrong. People are wrong. You can pull people over. It sucks. I know it. I get it. That was a legal traffic stop, meaning he had the legality. He had the legal. The law was behind him, and it was a legal stop. Should he have made it? I don't think so. I think it was total waste on time. Total waste in time. Okay. But then at this point, the officer's getting pissed. I guarantee it, because he's being challenged and he doesn't like this. And if he was in uniform, he'd teach these people a lesson. But he's not in uniform, so he's going to try to play it cool. Okay? So he's trying to play it cool, but he's also being an idiot too. Okay? So Haskett asked Amy for her driver's license and vehicle registration. Amy provided the information requested, but allegedly began to yell at Haskett as well. Okay, nothing wrong with that. Haskett returned to his patrol vehicle to run Amy Bell's driver's license and reportedly asked both her and Brian to stay inside the vehicle. Okay. According to the police report, Brian Bell exited the vehicle and approached Haskett's patrol car. Now, here's what I want to know. Did he really approach the patrol car, or did he exit the vehicle and attempt to flag down the trooper? Because if that's the case, then Haskett is not telling the truth here. And we have video evidence of Haskett misremembering how shit goes. So it's very possible that he's confused, or he's just flat out lying. He exited the vehicle and approached Haskett's patrol car. I want to know, how far did he get to your car, dude? This caused concern for officer safety due to the passenger's prior aggressive behavior during the ongoing traffic stop. Haskett said in his report, I gave Brian clear verbal commands to get back into the vehicle. After a brief moment of speaking, he eventually complied. I made the decision to give the driver a verbal warning and to be more mindful on the roadway, regardless of the behavior, in an effort to further de-escalate the encounter and conclude the stop, Haskett continued. Haskett approached the passenger side of Bell's vehicle to return Amy Bell's driver's license and registration and tell them that they were free to go. All right. So they're free to go. Brian Bell allegedly leaned out the window and began yelling obscenities at Haskett. Bell is accused of trying to open the door of his vehicle a second time, and the door reportedly came into contact with Haskett. I pushed back on the door and told Brian to stay in the vehicle, but Brian continued to push against the door and yell, Haskett said in his report. During the continued resistance, Brian made physical contact with my shoulder while pushing against the door, further escalating the encounter from verbal to physical. I then opened the door and told Brian to exit the vehicle, and he did not comply. I didn't hear or see him ask that when he opened the door. I didn't hear or see that. I didn't hear or see the officer ask a damn thing. Maybe it happened before the video went on. All right, I'll give him that. I attempted to pull Brian out of the vehicle by his forearm, but he retreated further into the vehicle by leaning back towards the driver's seat. I then reached further into the vehicle and I grabbed Brian by the sweatshirt, but the clothing ripped off, allowing space to be made between myself and Brian. Realizing I had no radio or handcuffs to detain him, I disengaged to my vehicle to retrieve the cuffs and radioed for backup. Yep, because let me tell you this, where the news, whatever this newspaper is called, I forget it all, whatever the newspaper is called here. This information is coming directly from the police reports. And that means, who knows when they typed up these reports. I have a suspicion. Let me tell you what I believe.
They're addressing quite a bit. Is it working now?
Yeah.
They're addressing quite a bit of the things that you pointed out in the videos that we've done about this so far, in the shows.
Yeah.
That were mistakes in the story.
Yeah.
I noticed they're correcting a lot of those in this.
Well, but this would have came out. What is today?
Today is Tuesday.
No, the actual day, 20?
The 20th.
So this would have came out. Yeah. This would have came out a week after we talked about it the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Those 2 weeks. So yeah. I mean, they would have had time to
get their stories straight.
Yeah, right. But let me tell you here,
and it doesn't match what he said.
Huh? It doesn't match what was said. It doesn't. That's the problem. That's the problem, because I don't even care what they had time to do or not do. If this is their report, it does not match what their video said, and that's going to be a problem. Okay. Backup arrives in the form of Lieutenant Blake Thrasher of the Henry County Sheriff's Office, who was also off duty, but in the immediate area in his unmarked patrol vehicle when he saw Haskett's vehicle and heard the subsequent call for backup. Thrasher activated his emergency lights and began to assist. As I got closer to the traffic stop, I observed Deputy B. Haskett running around the front driver bumper of his car, open his driver door, and enter his driver compartment, Thrasher wrote in his report. I then observed via radio Deputy Haskett requesting additional units to his traffic stop because of a resistor. As I exited my vehicle, I observed a white male approaching Deputy Haskett's patrol vehicle with his arms raised and flailing around. I could hear the male yelling loudly at Deputy Haskett, asking him what he was doing. Thrasher, who was not in uniform, identified himself as a law enforcement officer and ordered Brian Bell to turn around and place his hands behind his back. Thrasher said Brian Bell was very argumentative, refused to comply, and drug his feet on the way to Haskett's patrol vehicle. He drug his feet, so he wasn't running wildly after him. He walked slowly. He walked there slow. He was mad and enraged, walking slowly. Do-de-do. What are you doing? I just want to know what you're doing this to me for. Once Brian Bell was handcuffed and set in Haskett's patrol vehicle, he allegedly refused to put his feet inside the vehicle and began yelling and kicking his legs toward the officers, because of course he did. This is what happens. This is called this is amazing. So this is like fanciful. I can't say it. Fantasy-driven police reporting. We'll say it like that. They're making their narrative match what they need to fit the charges that they've pre-booked him in for. He was kicking and thrashing at us. When Brian did not comply, I struck him with a closed fist to gain compliance, Thrasher said. I punched him down. I beat him in the face. It was WWF. Brian then brought his legs into the patrol car and was placed in a seatbelt. Brian reportedly told Thrasher he was having a bad day. Yeah, you just punched me in the face. I'm having a damn bad day. After being informed he was under arrest, Brian Bell reportedly said he didn't want to go to jail and apologized to Thrasher. Haskett transported Brian Bell to the Henry County Jail. Bell reportedly asked Haskett several times to not arrest him, repeating that he was having a bad day and citing financial problems. According to Haskett's report, Bell apologized to him once arriving at the jail. Bell reportedly asked Haskett if he could shake his hand as a man-to-man apology, to which Haskett agreed. According to Thrasher's report, Bell remained on scene as her husband was placed in Haskett's patrol vehicle and taken to jail. During that time, Amy Bell allegedly yelled at law enforcement. Amy Bell was warned of disorderly conduct. They were warning her, too, of disorderly conduct, and parked her vehicle in the Taste of India parking lot. Social media videos. Amy Bell posted video footage she recorded during the incident to her personal Facebook page. In one video, Amy Bell went live on social media at 11:07 a.m. That clip is 1 minute and 13 seconds long. Amy Bell appears to be recording from the restaurant parking lot, while at least 6 responding officers and their patrol vehicles can be seen in front of her. I decided to go live because the officer in the very first car, Haskett, who was off duty, pulled us over for absolutely no reason, Bell says in the recording. Amy Bell claims Haskett pulled her husband out of the car and ripped his shirt off for asking why they were pulled over. He had no reason to pull us over, Amy Bell said in the video. Not one person has come over and asked to see the video of the officer that just left with my husband in the car ripping his shirt off. In her video, Amy calls out to a group of law enforcement officers who are gathered along Indiana 3 and ask them if they want to see her video. The officers appeared to wave off the suggestion because, yes, why would they want to look at any of that? Hell, I don't need to look at, no, screw it. We know what's going on. We already got our lies straight. What did he go to jail for? Amy Bell asks, implying that the officers beat her husband. I need to know why my husband just got arrested for nothing. Thrasher appears to respond to Amy Bell, though what he says cannot be heard over traffic, wind, and other noise in the video. Amy Bell is then heard making several profane remarks at the officers and appears to walk away. And a video Amy Bell posted at 11:25 a.m. is 13 seconds long. In that video, Deputy Haskett can be seen reaching into Bell's vehicle in an attempt to grab Brian Bell. The video shows Brian's shirt being pulled off during the incident. Deputy Haskett then retreats to his patrol vehicle and appears to be radioing for backup assistance. Amy Bell can be heard informing Haskett she is recording him, while Brian Bell is heard repeatedly asking Haskett what Haskett, is doing. Why are you doing this to me? He says. The evening of January 13th, Henry County Sheriff John Sproles posted a 6-minute and 56-second video to the Henry County Sheriff's Office Facebook page to address Brian Bell's arrest. In the video, Sproles said Haskett was acting within his lawful duty and obligation as a law enforcement officer to protect the safety and the public. The suspect's family is widely circulating a partial video of the incident, trying to portray themselves as innocent victims, Sproles said. You will quickly realize they are not victims. They are quite the opposite. They are typical law enforcement agitators, which our officers have to deal with on a much too frequent basis, I guess. In his video, Sproles spoke to Haskett's professionalism and integrity. I have never had a complaint about him in any manner whatsoever. That is a lie. Sproles said, in fact, I have had the opposite. I have had people call me to tell me how much they appreciate his care and demeanor in their interactions with him. I want to make this crystal clear right up front. I stand 100% behind the actions of my officer and all officers who are acting within their legal duties and obligations as law enforcement officers. I am sick and tired of the media and people who want to place selected clips of a video interaction in an attempt to try to demean this honorable profession of law enforcement. It is precisely this stuff right here that has exponentially increased the danger to the lives and well-being of our law enforcement officers and their families. My officer's mother called me crying because they're receiving death threats over this short video clip that knowingly wrongfully portrays the incident in which the suspect put everyone's safety at risk. I will not stand for it. I will not tolerate it, and I am sick of it. Sproles said Amy and Brian Bell have extensive encounters with law enforcement and that both have been arrested numerous times. Sproles said that he was not going to elaborate on previous arrests, as the purpose of the video was about facts and not personal attacks. Okay, ridiculous. Sproles is an idiot. Sproles went on to describe the facts of the traffic stop and subsequent arrest as they were detailed in Haskett and Thrasher's reports. Sproles said that all of his officers wear body cameras while in uniform and on duty. However, no sheriff's office vehicles have in-car cameras. Therefore, there's no video footage of this incident. Again, from the Henry County Sheriff's Office perspective. It's obvious that the suspects have video of this incident, but they are only showing one segment and not releasing the full video of the entire incident, Sproles said, noting that his office will continue to uphold its mission statement of do justice, love mercy, and be humble. It's absolutely ridiculous. Suspects, plural, calling these people suspects. This is a freaking infraction, man. And I'll tell you, so I have no room or position to talk, and I'm not going to say any further other than I am pretty certain that the Hasketts have an attorney that's going to help them at this. I'm not going to say who, what, where, or why, but not the
Hasketts.
Not the Hasketts.
Who has?
Oh, why did I say that? The Bells, not the Hasketts.
Bells. Oh, okay.
The Bells. You know what? Because I know a group of people called the Hasketts that oftentimes need help with this stuff. So that's the reason I've done that several times. Not the Hasketts, the Bells. The Bells have at least have an appointment with an attorney that I think is going to help them and do well for them. And I'm very excited about the meeting.
Well, that's good. That's very good.
Absolutely. I'm very happy about this. I'm very happy about what's happening. Yeah, she's not been arrested several times. He's full of crap. Hey, see you, Alva. He's full of crap. She's got a minor consumption from like 25 years ago, and a DUI, and both a misdemeanor stuff, minor stuff doesn't stop her from having a job in a law enforcement job at the prison. Just very ignorant stuff Sproles is doing and saying here. He's just trying to make these people look bad, and I think it's all going to turn around and bite him in the ass. The minute that I can tell you who the attorney is, I will. I won't do that until an appearance is filed. I will tell you that there was a court date today. There was a court date today that Bell responded to, that he had to go to, and at the court date, I'm pretty positive that he pled not guilty at the initial court date and stated that they would be hiring an attorney. And so that will be, I'm excited for this to move forward, and I'm excited for this to be taken care of. Now, when I read that newspaper article today, I got upset here, and I reached out to Travis Week, the editor of the newspaper, and I just wanted to double check. I said, hey, can you let me know if you reached out to the Bells for comment for this article? Which I knew, what he was going to say. Travis said, no, our practice with arrest stories is to cite the official police reports and court documents. I said, okay, that makes sense. Just wondered. He said, in this situation, we cited Amy's video because it gave further insight into the police action. We also cited the sheriff's video, meaning Sproles. We would have preferred dash cam or body cam footage, of course. I said, sure. I understand. Me too. I said, have you seen the Newcastle Police Department body cam where Haskett and Thrasher both contradict in real time just moments after the incident what they say in their reports? And what do you think he said? We have not. We'll reach out to NCPD about it. I said, definitely worth a look. They got it to me in a day. And until they get you a copy from them, here you can find it in this video. And so I sent him the video from last night, sent it queued up, and he asked me whose camera footage it was. And I said, I told him the officer's name, and I sent it to him. And he said, thanks. I said, if you click here, you'll be able to see whatever. So I sent that to him, and hopefully they took a look at that. He'll obviously see something different than I see, but that's just how that rolls. They get paid a lot of money by John Sproles, so it is what it is. I will tell you that I did make contact with the Henry County Sheriff's Department today, and we are working on getting a date and a time set up. Hopefully this week that I will be able to go in and watch the footage there and then get what I need from there. And I am also working on something else, but I'm not going to say it, and it could be really, really big. So just hold on to yourselves. There's a part 2 coming to Sunday's episode. If you have not watched Sunday's episode, it would have been episode 590. Episode 5. Yes, thank you, Diane. I appreciate that. If you have not watched Sunday's episode, you need. It's good. There will be a part 2 to that video, and if or when we get that, it'll be big. There might even be a part 3, and that could be very, very big, very big. So that's there. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I think that brings us very close to the end of our broadcast day. The last thing that I want to show you before we roll out of here, okay, is something that I don't feel like, I guess I don't need to do. Oh, I'm not going to say just yet. We'll see. I don't want to tip anything off, but we'll just we'll just keep your fingers crossed. And if you believe in prayer, say a prayer that good things happen. We might have some good answers coming up here very shortly. I don't personally feel, I'll put it to you this way. to me, I don't care one way or another what this person says. But I ask for a lot of you to tune in, and you don't have to believe what I say. I just ask for you to at least take the ride with me. And I hope that I give you enough receipts that you believe. I'm not lying to you here. I'm trying to tell you everything I possibly believe based on my life's experience involved with all of this stuff. And in order to do that, there has to be some respect, or at least some trust, I guess. And so personally, I don't give a shit one way or another, but I do this because number one, well, I'll explain it on the back end. I do this because number one, I think that I want you guys to know the truth. And number two, well, I'll get to number two here in a second, but I want to show you this so there's no question. For whatever reason, towards the end of last Sunday's episode 590, there was a troll that came into the comments and started just like going on talking about like, why do you have a platform? Who are you to have a platform? You know, you have been arrested for, I don't know, child. She didn't say child molestation. She said child pornography, and people can get on and see it. And I gave her time and asked her to put these links up. I asked her to send them to me. I would put them up. She wouldn't. When the show ended, she then accused me of blocking her. I didn't block her. What she could not do anymore is she could not comment on the show because the show ended. And there is a while when the show is ending, and even after the show ends for just a few minutes, that people can still be commenting either on YouTube or on Facebook or on X or on Rumble or whatever. But then a few minutes goes by and that ends. And then the live feeds aren't up for 24 hours. However, I've never blocked anybody on social media. That person has access to my social media. She has access to any of my social media. No one gets blocked on social media. No one gets blocked here. So she then went on to my social media and she kept doing the same thing, talking about, being arrested, my case, bullshit, la, 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 doing all this stuff. And people do that all the time. And I kept telling her, pull it up on my case, pull it up on Docs Pops. I mean, let's see what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. And so just because she wouldn't do it, yeah, she's still going to get today. It's been all day long. So we're pulling this up here so we can look through it together. Here's Kristopher H. Bilbrey. Please enter value for either the last name or business. I did, asshole. Let's get this out of here. I don't know why it's there. We'll do this. There we go. All right. Let's scroll down this. Okay. And what you're going to see here is
Make it
I
bigger,
can't
bud.
drive. I'm going to. I can't
Okay.
drive 55. Okay. I have a lead foot, and I don't like using my safety belt. But hey, I'm a libertarian. You know what it means? Safety belt. Kristopher Bilbrey safety belt. And didn't carry my license this day. That was in Winchester. I used to get punked in Winchester a lot because I was politically active. They didn't like that. Exceeding the speed limit. Here's a lawsuit. Money issues from back in the day. Went through a divorce. You know what I mean? And here's a state v. Kristopher Bilbrey exceeding speed limit. There you go, folks. That's it. I know it doesn't seem fun. I mean, let's back this out. We can do this. It doesn't seem nearly as fun as what people have made it out to be. We can get rid of the Kristopher. We can get rid of the H to make sure I'm not playing any tricks. Okay. There's a couple more things on here, and they are other speeding tickets. I can take you down through here and show you other speeding tickets, and I've been through 2 divorces. Here is a let's see here. Let's pull this up and see what this is. Oops, you didn't get drug over here. Where are we at? Oh, here you are. Stream. There we go. Okay, so this is a where is it? Disregarding automatic signal right here. Okay, we'll go back here. This is seating speed. Failure. Use safety belt, speed. So it's just more of the same. Went through 2 divorces, and around both those divorces, had some money issue, as people do when they have divorces. My father passed away in 2016. And when my father passed away in 2016, he left behind my wonderful self, but he also left behind a 16-year-old son. And my wife and I at the time took my brother in, and we went through on my father's old divorce in order to do that. That's what that is. And everything else is an infraction. I'm not a felon. I have my gun permit that has been issued by the state of Indiana. You do not need gun permits in the state of Indiana.
She's on a thing about you had your child porn expunged.
Can
child pornography even be expunged?
I don't think that it can be. Where did you go? Sorry, I got rid of you. Hold on.
No,
Stay there.
Okay.
Let's go look. Let's look this up, because I saw that. So she was saying, you can look it up. Everybody can look it up. He's been arrested for child pornography. I'm assuming she's getting me confused for Josh, but I mean, certainly, that's a pretty big confusion.
That is a huge confusion.
Like, that's a pretty big confusion to get somebody confused.
But I didn't think that you could get child sex crimes expunged or like murder.
I'm going to look that up. Okay. I
would think that you wouldn't be able to get certain things taken off, right?
Well, I'm looking up here right now. I have convicted.
I think she spelled your name wrong, Eric. Admiral.
Yeah.
How would we spell his name wrong?
Well, even with a CH, we couldn't find it.
I did try that last night.
That expunged
with a CH, Kristopher.
Yeah. No.
If it's expunged, it doesn't show up.
I believe she's correct.
Who's she? Me, she, or crazy woman? She.
Yeah. Wait. Who are you saying is correct? If it were expunged, you would not see it. That is absolutely correct. But
is who do you think is correct, Brandy?
Yeah, we need to find that out.
There's 3 women here: K Mama, me, and the.
Okay, here we go. Indiana statute prohibits expungement for certain offenses, such as those involving serious bodily injury, official misconduct, specific violent or sexual crimes.
Okay.
So,
what's sexual crimes?
Yeah, we'll put this up here and let people see it. Yeah, she was claiming to see it. So I get what you're saying. So yeah, whatever she was claiming to see, I don't know, we couldn't see it because we were never able to see it.
Yeah, because even though you asked for screenshots, it never happened.
Yeah, I was like, well, give me screenshots of it. Let me see what you're talking about. Like, damn, if you're gonna accuse me
in public, then put out the proof.
In public, yeah, right here. Additionally, the individual must be free of any pending criminal charges. Notably, Indiana statute prohibits expungement for certain offenses, such as those involving serious bodily injury, official misconduct, and specific violent or sexual crimes.
Okay.
So
what kind of sexual crimes?
Well, that's a good question. I
I
would
would
like to
assume
think that it
sex
would
crimes against children
would probably be one of those. Yeah.
would be one of them.
Okay, let's look down through here really quickly.
Yeah, you're right, K Mama. She needs to bring receipts.
Well, so I'm going to talk to you about this. Okay. Here we go. Individuals who may not seek expungement of felony convictions. Pursuant to Indiana Code 353893B, Indiana Code 353894B, and Indiana Code 353895B, the following individuals are prohibited from seeking expungement of any felony convictions: sex or violent offenders as defined by 11885, persons convicted of a felony that resulted in the death of another person, persons convicted of official misconduct unless the person is not an elected official or elected appointed judicial officer, any homicide offense, attempted, any human or sexual trafficking offense, any sex crime offense in 35424, or attempt, and a person convicted of unlawful possession of a firearm by a serious violent felon does not apply. Persons convicted of 2 or more felony offenses that involve unlawful use of deadly weapons or were not committed as a part of the same episode of criminal conduct as defined in
Can you give me the IC that they mentioned for the sex crimes?
First of all, look up 35424.
35-42-4. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. It just hates me. Sorry, I'm slow today.
No, you're fine.
Sex crimes. 32-32-4. Okay, so let's look here. Rape, child molestation, child exploitation, child pornography, various sexual gratification, sexual conduct in the presence of a minor, child solicitation, child seduction, battery, sexual battery, sexual misconduct with a minor. All these things. Child porn, child molesting cannot be expunged.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Indiana Code.
That's what I thought.
So you did not get it expunged, and you're not really a child porn connoisseur.
I'm not a child porn connoisseur.
I'm very grateful to hear that.
That is great. I think Kate actually started believing it. She was like, she's like, hey, let's look you up. Let's look you up with spelled with a C. Let's look you up spelled with a P. I was like, I promise you, it's not there. But
I knew it wasn't there, but I was trying.
No, I know.
I was like,
I know.
If she's seen something, it's gotta be like.
Yeah, right. I think it has to be. And here's the thing is, I can't determine, because she started giving me a bunch of shit about a year ago. No, I'll tell you when it was. It was right after the Victoria Sparks town hall here in Muncie. Are you okay?
Wrong tube.
Wrong pipe. I thought you were going to blame that on a new computer too.
No, that's just being stupid.
So no,
choking to death on tea on camera.
Yeah, right. No, she started.
Did that get us banned on YouTube?
What? If you died, if you killed over?
If I keeled over dead.
No,
choking on my own
no,
tea.
I don't know. I think some of them have. I've seen people do that. I mean, I think they play it eventually, but it would be there for a minute. Wouldn't get us banned.
Anyway, keep going.
She started blowing me up and blowing me some shit. Yeah, right. She started blowing me up after the Victoria Sparks thing, and she was fighting me because of Ryan Webb. She was mad because I gave Ryan Webb a platform or whatever, and so she gave me a bunch of shit about that. Then she went away. Then again in June of last year, she started blowing me up again about Ryan Webb. And then she went away. But if you look, it's obviously a fake account. I don't know who she is. But if you look, she says a bunch of shit about Ridenauer or whatever. A bunch of people said they thought she was a Sproles fan. I don't think she's from Henry County. I don't think this hatred is over Sproles.
I think she's from Delaware.
I think she's from Delaware County, and I just think that she's got a couple screws loose. But I will tell you, I am friends with Abdul, and I've watched what Abdul has done. And smoke another one.
I am.
And I did reach out to Abdul because I've noticed what he's done specifically with Gabe Whitley, because Gabe Whitley accused him of the same thing. And Gabe Whitley said and did some other things to him, but specifically, Gabe did call both Rob and Abdul. Said that they had child porn, and he did win cases against him. So I sent that over to Abdul. I don't know if I'll have Abdul do it or not, but I'm thinking, depending on what Abdul says, I might push this forward and whatever. I'm not going to get any money out of her or whatever, but if we can find out who she is and shame her and give her the walk of shame, that would be good enough. So, I normally don't care about things. People can say whatever they want. You can say I'm horrible. You can say, I'm a Nazi if you want to say I'm a Nazi. I'm not. You can say that I hate black people or I hate gay people. I don't. None of that's true. You can say all the things that left people normally say to people on the right. You can say that I'm a Democrat. I'm a socialist. You can call me whatever. You can tell me I'm fat. You can tell me I'm stupid. You can tell me I'm ignorant. You can tell me I live in my mom's basement. I don't. You can say whatever you want to say. Accusing someone of being a child molester or whatever, that's a little bit different. I think accusing somebody of hurting children or victimizing children in some way, that crosses the line. Maybe accusing somebody of like rape or something with women. I'm not even if somebody came on here long ago. No, it wasn't on here. It was on Perception is Reality when I had that, and accused me of beating my ex-wife. And that was laughable too. Well, I'm not going to say who it was because that person is deceased and it's not good to talk of the dead. But we eventually made up, and it was what it was. But someone at one point accused me of being a wife abuser, a woman hitter, and that was something that, in my opinion, crossed the line. So those things are something I won't stand for. And I'm not going to block somebody like that. I'm not going to block someone like that because I want to see it and it's evidence. So that's the reason. If people said, I've had a lot of people say, why don't you delete that? Why don't you take it down? Put it up there because it's evidence and it's proof. And she's playing with the wrong one. We know what you are. Stumblefoot. That's what we agree. Well, Brittany, I appreciate that. All the rest of you, I appreciate it. And, there's plenty of normal, regular stuff that you guys can all hate me for. I don't need to molest children or do any of that. I got plenty of other things that you guys can hate me for. So, all right. Thank you all very much. It's been a long show. Thank you. Take care. God bless. Have a great one. Don't molest kids. Don't beat women. And have fun doing everything else. All right, you guys take care, and we'll see you tomorrow. We will be here tomorrow. We will have a good show for you tomorrow. Keep your fingers crossed and keep saying those prayers because we might have a surprise coming up here. Don't go to Henry County. Those things are all together. All right, and we have something maybe, hopefully, coming up here real soon. So keep saying those prayers, okay? Take care. God bless, and good night.